I'm going to record the meeting, right, so that we can post it right on our YouTube channel afterwards. So just a heads up for folks that will be recording this thing. I wanted to kick off just, by the way, just with this header slide right here. And just a huge thank you to Cindy and to Mike for their work in leading the fair efforts this past month in August. Cindy couldn't make it here on the meeting today, but Mike, of course, is present. And it, just given all the restrictions and all the constraints of COVID, being able to have a face-to-face fair this year was a big deal. And as we've all shared in past, right, these fair opportunities are huge visibility events for the Master Gardener program. So shout out to everybody who volunteered, but especially to Cindy and Mike for leading the coordination efforts.
Well, thank you very much.
Very good. So wanted to get us into today's meeting. We have we'll go through our regular series of updates. We want to give folks time to talk about the 2022 elections. Our bylaws require us to have our elections for the next year's officers in October. So we'll talk about that. We wanted to have a special time to talk about the vaccination requirements that WSU is imposing upon us. And we wanted to make, that's a key reason why Tony and Lena and Brenda are both present here, all present here today. We'll go for announcements. I'll talk about the program calendar. And I see that we have a special guest, Megan Martin, is with us here today too. So we're actually going to have another special Tapio more than a moment that we'll be ready to deal with. So birthdays are interesting. Only 2 birthdays across our entire membership, right, in September. So this is really something striking. Just Heidi and Anita have birthdays here in September. So I assure you, October is when all of your parents had you all, because looking ahead for next month, it's a huge month of birthdays. But we're pretty light on September, folks. So I encourage everyone who's thinking about recruiting interns for the 2022 class, let's be sure to ask for September birthdays and give priority to those individuals. Okay, kicking off on September to-dos. Remember that all of these to-dos are posted on Oregon State's website in their extension garden calendar section. And it was this is the second month I've noticed in Oregon emphasizing how September and October are optimal times for establishing new lawns. And they emphasize, of course, the amount of fertilizer, and they're very thoughtful about how much fertilizer to put on lawn areas, and of course, emphasizing risk of runoff. So ensure that we don't over fertilizer. Interesting comment here about stop irrigating the lawn after Labor Day to suppress crane flies populations. I'm certainly seeing a lot of crane flies here. Are other folks seeing, a lot of flies around this year? Yeah, Sharon's hand is up there. So comments that, as we get into this, whoops. Oh yeah, no, I also wanted to check, with respect to, there's talking here about frost picking green tomatoes and so forth, and ripening indoors. And it's another reminder then that WSU has a whole site focused on weather conditions throughout the state. And there are 3 weather stations that WSU maintains and posts that are in our area. And note that the first frost in Grays Harbor could occur as early as this month. In 2009 and 2019, that on September 30th had a frost. So my point of putting up this slide, frankly, is just to make you aware that WSU maintains this weather site, and information such as first frost, and frost dates are contained therein. Helpful stuff. Okay. Other September planning to-dos, of course, this is the time to divide your peonies and your iris. Interesting, if you go back, by the way, to when Frank and Ginny donated all of those peony bulbs to us back in 2014, I believe it was. We're probably starting to get ready for some of those peony clusters, right, to be divided. So it isn't team. It's time to get after that work. And of course, it goes without saying that fall planting encourages healthy root growth over the winter. And there's a lot of interesting talk here about planting bulbs. And I didn't know this little comment they have, that the size of the bulb is directly related to the size of the flower. Was any of you, any other comments on that? Any aware of that or thought of that then?
Hey, Kelly, I can't get any of your stuff that you're putting up on the screens. I got your picture, fine, but I don't get your stuff that you're putting up.
What else are people seeing my screen?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so John, what I might recommend is you may have go to a different view in your Zoom, and you may have maximized all of the faces in the gallery, but not maximize the screen size of the sharing. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I wanted to remind everyone too of this of the cover crops from WSU has an extension about cover crops. This is Rachel Ghana always says, never garden naked. Never garden naked. And so always keep your garden covered. That's her motto here. And reminder, of course, that WSU has all of these extensions. So many of these fact sheets are available. And it, as we recommend and talk to the public and our clients, we want to make sure that we're pushing them as much as possible to all these the documentation that's online. Also, quick comment here about when they talk about calcium and phosphorus into the soil. Key point for us here in Western Washington, of course, is that we get so much leaching of these water soluble nutrients because of the rains. And the rains apparently are coming this weekend per the forecast. So it is an appropriate thought, as OSU is reminding us here, to ensure that we've got adequate calcium in the soils. Pest monitoring, straight comments here about parasitic nematodes to moist soil beneath rhododendrons. So I'm getting a lot of root weevil damage. And so it is time to be thinking about that. Quick comment here about the spotted wing Drosophila, SWD. And it's an interesting picture, and so if you see one of these guys, you're definitely going to notice. I mean, those big red eyes can't mistake them for anything else. Anybody seen any of these SWDs in their garden, or that I think we'd know it if you did, but I mean, it's just they're quite. It's interesting that OSU would take the time to point out this one particular insect as a concern. The comment about slugs is interesting. Control slugs is necessary. That led me to find out that OSU has a slug portal. Yes, indeed. OSU has a slug portal, and it's identified as such. So everything you've ever want to know about all of these species of slugs and snails is helpful. And Tony, this of course is my shout out to WSU, is that all these interesting sites that OSU maintains, and WSU has nothing at all of near interest here. I mean, this is heady stuff, the slug portal.
Does everybody recognize their slug that they see up there?
Oh, yeah.
I recognize mine, number 19. That's my
Yeah.
slug there.
Yeah,
Is that what everybody
it's
has?
been a slug and snail year.
Now, which one of these is native, mind you? And which one of these is the good slug?
One, isn't it?
Number one, our banana
Yeah.
slug. Let's
Yeah.
hear it.
Don't ever see very many of those.
Quick reminders we shift gears here is that we all as master gardeners, we adhere to the WSU Master Gardener program, and we adhere to all of the handbook and the guidelines and the rules and regulations that the program puts forward. We gather here today, however, as a independent, nonprofit, Washington recognized corporation, a foundation. And the foundation has three purposes, as we know: to educate and inform the public, to fundraise for growth and support of our programs, and to come together just as we're doing today to engage and learn. So with that as a reminder of differences between the program and the foundation, we are reminded then of our elected foundation board. And this is we are all gathered here today as in support of the elected membership whose term runs on the calendar year from January through December. We are also supported, of course, by our liaison with WSU, Tony Nguyen, and our coordinators, I can say today, not just Alina, but also Brenda Priestley. So congratulations, Brenda, who's joining us here today. Any opening remarks or comments you have, Brenda, about the tenure you're about to begin here?
I'm just really excited to step in and help Alina and to help the program. So I'm looking
Wonderful.
forward to it. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So Brenda, as our North County representative here in Pacific County, you'll be making that drive up to Grace Harbor County and covering the folks north.
That shouldn't be a problem.
There
I'm a
you
lot
go.
closer anyway.
Anyway, thank you for stepping up, Brenda, and congratulations. We look forward to having your support, and I know Alina looks very much forward to having your support.
Thank you.
Okay, so shout out to the nominating committee led by PJ in leading up to our 2022 elections. As I noted at the outset, right, our bylaws calls for an election at October meeting of officers and officers in the corporation for the 2022, for the next calendar year, 2022. The nominating committee here of Terry and Patty, Mike, PJ, Sharon, and Elizabeth.
There's a few missing, Kelly.
There's a few missing on the nominating committee. Okay.
Yeah.
Who else is on there?
Katie Lutz,
Okay.
Shar Hood. Let's see, Sheila Rivard. I'm trying to remember as I do it. We have Mike. There's 10 of us all together.
Okay.
So no slighting of anyone because they've all worked hard. And Vivian Johnson.
Well, much thanks to your work, because indeed you have put together this slate of officers at present. And I know that we have another meeting of the nominating committee tomorrow evening. And I'm presuming, PJ, you'd welcome anyone who wants to attend, right? Could join that Zoom.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a public meeting. And just so everyone knows, I know that for many people, maybe not our newest cohort, but many other cohorts, this slate looks a little different. But the nominating committee was trying to build some capacity into our positions because they're very, very, very important positions. And we started off with folks that were thinking of transitioning in the program director area at some point, maybe not right this second. So for example, in public events, Terry Small, who is also on the nominating committee, had said that she'd like to work with some people to eventually transition from this director position. And we have Robin and Rhonda, who both have a lot of experience in the events that Terry has been the director of for a while, and they all work well together. So that's one cluster. Program support, Vivian Johnson, who is still currently working, has talked to Margie, and they are going to work together on areas that provide the program support in the areas of our computers and other pieces under that position. State reps, we still have the same 3 state reps, so anyone who is willing or able, it's a great position to get involved with and learn even more about the state foundation, which we are a part of as Grace Harbor and Pacific County. And the meetings are very good. Most often we have both groups, the Master Gardeners under WSU, working very closely with the state foundation. And of course, just a shout out that the state education meeting is about to commence at the end of this month, and that will be a wonderful time to not only pick up hours, even though it's Zooming, it's a great time to up your information and knowledge base, and also see some other people from around the state. Treasurer, actually, Sharon and Renee are our model for what we're trying to do, because they have been working together, Renee, to eventually take over as treasurer, and who knows, there may be someone beyond Renee that wants to work with her. Secretary Kathy Echo and Laurie Biddle, so we always have someone able to take minutes and be involved, and these two have stepped up. Kathy is our current secretary. Laurie is going to learn and support behind. We do have a president-elect this year. That's Sabine Price, who is out of the North Beach Master Gardeners, an amazingly organized woman. She's the secretary for the North Beach Master Gardeners and has willingly stepped up to learn along, and so that we always have something moving along, because as our bylaws state, the president then becomes the past president, so that the current president has support, and then the president-elect. So it's a really great model, not unusual, found in a lot of places, but it would just shore up our own organization to make sure that we have people who feel comfortable training and working with a veteran, and then eventually taking over the role if they're ready to do it. And the Pacific County Director and the North Beach Director, we have not touched, because those are elected in those areas. But I do know that Sushila Rivard and Valerie, and I'm not going to say Valerie's last name correctly, V, she could step in there. Valerie are going to be the heads of North Beach, and I don't know if Jan's still keeping on as Pacific County yet, but I'm sure Kelly, the group, will find out, and we'll be ready to go in October for the election. What I do want to say to everyone on this call, or everyone who listens to it later, this is not a closed slate. If you are interested in any one of these positions, please let anyone on the committee or myself or Kelly know, and we'll get your name on the slate, because that's how our nominating and our moving forward work. So I can't thank the people that have stepped forward and said, yeah, I'd like to actually learn from Terry and work with her, or yes, I'd really like to work with, this is my strength area, and I'd like to work with Margie Slaybaugh. We haven't touched Dawn's position yet, or Cindy's, so those two positions are there, but we really were trying to protect education this year in particular, because it is a training year, and it's a great year to learn if you want to come in and work with Cindy and learn and maybe take over next year or the year after. But the training is so important for Elena, Brenda, as she comes on, and Cindy. We didn't really go out actively recruiting for education, but that doesn't mean someone can't nominate or tell us that they're interested in being nominated.
Comments from anyone at, it's just, again, it's a great slate, and a shout out again to PJ and the nominating committee for all the work that they've put into this here. Because what we'll plan to do then at our October meeting, October 12th, we will plan to have an election just as we did last year. It'll be virtual, I'm afraid, at this point. So I think that's the plan we'll be under. But again, a shout out to the nominating committee, and a repetition that per PJ's comments, if there's any additional names or suggestions or questions that anyone has about a role or a position or a fit, reach out to us, and we'll come back at you.
Kelly, this is Sushila.
Yes,
You
Sushila.
hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to make sure the correction was under North Reach, that Valerie is going to be a co-director with me.
Okay.
So I think it would be good, since you have, second people under shadowing other roles, that she's going to be shadowing my role. So hopefully, it will work out where she takes over next year.
I will make that correction on the slide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments? Again, a thanks for everyone willing to step up because it is going to be a big year next year with training. Okay.
I did have one other question. Is Kathleen Schaefer, is she going to be running for public outreach then?
That's unclear at this time, Sue Sheila. I tried to contact her this morning. I also reached out to her, as you probably know, with an email. She actually listed quite a few positions she was interested in. So we're trying to find out. She has all the nomination people's names. So we're trying to find out what she might be interested in.
Oh, okay, great, thanks.
Thank you for asking that.
Okay. So the for everyone else, of course, reminder as a service organization, it is imperative that we all do step up and volunteer, and it's just great from the nominations you've already seen here that you know that folks are stepping up because just as we're getting used to working with COVID, we're actually finding ways to continue in our volunteer services through plant clinics, through the fairs. Through the demonstration gardens and the community beds. So, you know, we're making things happen regardless of the constraints that COVID is imposing upon us. To that point, of course, is a reminder to get those hours recorded and add impact so that Alina and soon Brenda will be approving those hours. This is, of course, through the Give Pulse session, Give Pulse application. Of course, questions or comments or challenges and using the Give Pulse, you know, reach out to Lena or Brenda, and they'll guide you through this through the app.
Kelly, can I just make a comment?
Sure.
I'm not sure how it's happening, but I went through, exported all the hours to see how people were doing, and a number of people are putting in the date, but not the time. You know, so they'll say September 14th to September 14th, but they're not putting in like 9 to 11. And so I'm not sure whether I don't know whether to approve them because we need to have those times there, but I am going to send out an email to the people that haven't been putting in the times with PowerPoint so that they can see. Maybe they're not going to the right place to add their impact. I'm not sure. But we need to have everything filled out as far as starting time, starting date, ending date, where you volunteered, was it demo gardener, was it program support or whatever. So those are just little glitches that I'm going to be talking to people about in the coming weeks. That's all.
No, it's very important to note that you have to fill those out. By the way, a quick thought then, Alina, is that one feedback you might want to give to Jennifer and the people at the state is to put in required fields so that the save impact or the registering of the impact cannot proceed until certain required fields are put in. I would think that's the least they could do given the imposition of giving us this new system this year.
Well, we're working hard. Give Pulse Support has a long list of things that we have asked them to do, and so it's slow, but we're working hard on it.
Very good. So perhaps also another note for John and the next email, e-news, right, to have a note about proper input of these hours. Very good. So the next thing I wanted to get to, of course, is the big announcement that we've gotten from WSU relative to vaccination status, and it is imperative per the state direction here, and this is coming from the governor, of course, is that you know, volunteers to state organizations need to be fully vaccinated, right, and to have that vaccination on file with WSU by October 18th. Right? Otherwise, you'll end up in an inactive status and unable to participate in Master Gardener programs, either physically or virtually. So, Tony or Alina, you want to add additional comments here? You want to share onto this, and I want to make sure that people have questions. If there's any questions or any dialogue around this, that we have that discussion and share.
So let me talk for a couple of minutes and then we'll answer questions. I will tell you everything I know. This came down to us the Friday before Labor Day weekend. So it's all kind of fresh, new, and raw. And whoever's kitty is meowing, that kitty needs to be fed. I can hear it. And it woke up my cat over on the side. But this all just came flying down on us. And I don't know everything, but I know some things. I know that you can get an exemption for religious or medical issues, challenges, but they told us how they, being WSU, told the faculty how we were going to do those. And we said no, because we're going to be held personally liable. So we have a big meeting at 11 with the Attorney General to talk about those issues. So I may know more this afternoon. So right now, if you want to put your hand up and say, I have a religious or medical issue and am not going to get vaccinated, I can't tell you what the process is. I can tell you that this morning I did get the links and the spreadsheets. I do not want your vaccination cards, but I will be setting up some Zooms. And if you're uncomfortable just showing me your vaccination card on Zoom, I will figure out how to travel to communities and sit in a park and have you show me your vaccination cards. Please do not email them to me. Please do not, send me a copy of them. We're not keeping them. We're just doing checkoffs. We're filling out forms. We're sending them in. About the 19th of October, if you have not shown me your card, and I may have Elena and Brenda help me follow up with people who are totally quiet. You do get a letter. I do have the letter that says, congratulations, you are now inactive and don't volunteer for us until you get vaccinated at a future time. So what this means is the 2022 class will have to be vaccinated to come in. So we've got to add vaccinations to our upcoming forms. And it basically means for those of you who are choosing not to be vaccinated, that's fine, it's your privilege. But that doesn't mean that you can come and volunteer just for fun with WSU. It means, thank you very much. Please stay home and don't help us. All right, questions, because I can maybe answer 2 questions that I might know the answers to.
So I want to start off with the that October 18th, of course, is that key date.
Right.
I believe, and the key.
I have a question, Tony.
So does Karen. So hang on. Let's let Kelly finish and then Karen will go and then Master Zoom.
That's Sushila, yeah.
Sushila will start.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
So go ahead, Kelly.
My first question then was, so October 18th then, to have to be fully vaccinated. I believe that the requirement, the date to get fully vaccinated with a 2 shot vaccine, I believe that date is passed or soon passed, right? Because I think
I know it is passed for the Medina one. If you haven't already got your first Medina shot,
Moderna.
I didn't know I was going to become a vaccine expert. And I don't remember what the other date is. And I know that Johnson & Johnson, the 1-shot wonder, is still available.
Very good.
All right. So Karen, you had your hand up. I saw you.
Thank you, Tony. Yes. So I'm wondering, I do have my little card that says I vaccinated. And so how am I going to show this to you?
I'm going to set up some Zooms where I'm just going to be sitting around on my Zoom and you can zoom in with me and just hold the card up to your Zoom camera so I can read it. That's how I did it for WSU. So if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you guys. That's my philosophy. and I'm going to read it off the camera and I'm going to click it into the system.
And what about the third shot?
The third. No, we're not talking. We don't have to do that. We just have to be vaccinated by the 18th.
Okay, thank you.
So don't worry about boosters. Let's not suggest that. It's crazy enough as it is.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
That's all right. Shoshila.
Okay, I think Karen asked the question. The cards are fine. I know they have an app where you can go into the county and pull down your records and all that stuff, but the card that's signed is enough.
Yeah, and yes, you can just stop by the South Bend office when I am there. My schedule is a little crazy because it's state fair for me, and also I'm taking a couple of days off. Don't be surprised at that. And so, you might want to call before you stop by in South Bend and show me your card. If you see me in the grocery store, please don't show me your card. Wait till I actually have a spreadsheet with me, because I'm not carrying it around. But I'll make plenty of opportunities. And if we can't figure out how to Zoom, it's just like I do the background checks. I'll drive and meet you if that's what it takes.
Okay, and Tony, I was going to say that I sent out the letter from the governor and from WSU to all of our members. And if you don't have an email, then Elizabeth sent out a hard copy. So everyone has the vaccination schedule of when you need to have it done in order to be fully vaccinated by October 18th. And fully vaccinated means 2 weeks after your second shot or 2 weeks after the Johnson & Johnson shot. If you need those dates again, email me and I will send you those dates.
And that's why we're a team. Wait a minute, somebody, Sharon KB, just a second. Somebody just asked me what's the phone number for South Bend. So write this down. Are you ready? I'll put it in the chat box too. 360-875-9331. 360-875-9331.
Okay.
We are staffed with Sue and I on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from about 8:30 to 1, but I work a lot of nights, weekends, county fairs, crazy events. So, there's a good chance that you can call on a Sunday, and 9 times out of 10, you'll catch me. Elizabeth wait a minute, Sharon, and then Elizabeth, and then we'll go to Shoshila.
Okay.
My question is really quick, and it's just a matter of, okay, I happen to be vaccinated, so this is a hypothetical. If you're not vaccinated and you're not vaccinated by the 18th, but you do get vaccinated after the 18th, fully vaccinated, can you though go back then and become active again?
So right now the university is saying no, but we are pushing, we being faculty, we especially tenured faculty with attitudes. We're pushing because we think that's ridiculous. So I'm not going to answer that until I know more from the university, because my personal bias is going to come up instead of a policy line. Got it?
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then I think Elizabeth and then Shoshila, and then I think I saw another hand, but I wasn't paying attention who it was.
So my question, Tony, was exactly what Sharon just asked. Thank you for answering it.
Yeah, and I have to say, my philosophy is, if you're going to let volunteers who get trained later in the year come in, and they know that they're going to have like you'll have to be vaccinated before you go through training, it seems like we could do that. And also 4-H volunteers join throughout the year. So if 4-H volunteers can join and get vaccinated throughout the year, then Master Gardeners should be able to. So stand by. We're making the university crazy, and I'm sure the Attorney General nuts with the kinds of questions we've been asking. So Shoshila, you were next on my question list.
Yeah, I just had an interesting question, I think. I think it's interesting. So what happens in a community garden, like Bend or Pacific County or Ocean Shores, where you have other gardeners participating in the garden, not in what you're doing as master gardeners. Say we're working on the demo beds, but there's other gardeners in the community garden doing their own thing. It's usually 1 or 2, 3 people at a time. What happens then?
They are not master gardeners. They do not
So-
have to be vaccinated.
Okay, so we don't have to concern ourselves with others.
No, don't make
Just
this any harder
ourselves.
than it is.
Okay.
Yeah, don't make this, don't be too creative. Don't try to throw in Pythagorean's theorem. Just kind of keep it really simple. Vaccinated by the 18th, yes or no?
Yeah, I just don't want to get, we just don't want to get dinged
I
for
know.
doing
Don't
something
overthink
wrong.
this. Don't worry about the 3rd shot. But and if you have a religious or a medical thing, we'll talk. We'll talk privately. I'm not keeping copies of cards. Nobody is. We're trying to keep everyone's, sanity while we go through this. Any other questions? And I can't see some of you. So if you've been waving down below my screen line, I may have missed you. I don't see anyone. Okay, so here's the line I always say. When I know more, you'll know more. But in my case, when I know more, I'll probably let Elena and Brenda know, and then the 3 of us will know more. But I'll be your contact person with your little cards, and I am really sorry that I'm having to do this with all of you, but thanks for playing along, and we're going to have a great rest of the year.
So a key point to share, because at this juncture, that October 18th date is a hard date. We want to make sure that folks, get those vaccinations done and get that word to you.
If they choose to. I am not forcing anyone to go get a vaccine. I will miss you. I will say a lament for you from the program. And I'll also send you a really strongly worded letter that said, thanks, but don't come play with us. But, I will not drag you to a vaccine clinic. It is your choice.
And I just wanted to add that since, Tony is working really closely with me from the WSU perspective, that feel free to contact me. Like I said, if I haven't heard from Tony on an issue, then I'll have to say, I will let you know when I know more. But you can also contact me about other things that are already on paper that I can send to you or that I can answer.
So Tony, you'll be publishing those Zoom dates, those open Zooms here.
Yeah, I'm going to try the systems tomorrow because I've got 2 systems to try, and then I'll probably organize up some Zoom dates, but I'm kind of dragging my feet till I get the information, hopefully today, on exemptions.
Very good. Any other? Go ahead, Mary.
I heard a voice.
That's me. You can't see me. I'm Mary Shane. One day I'll get my camera to work. I'm getting ready to write a grant proposal to the county, Grace Harbor County, for support for the spring home and garden show. And I guess a question I have is, there are, when I work, I usually work at a door welcoming people. I know there are vaccine requirements pretty much everywhere now, but if somebody shows up without any vaccine record, do we care? Are we supposed to check? And if they do or don't, if they don't?
Well, Mary, I'm going to have a hard time looking into the future, and I hear what you're saying. Just my personal thoughts and ramblings are, one of the things I'm seeing across Washington is that many counties are having their own COVID protocols. So there are counties now that you have to show your vaccine card to be able to get into a restaurant or a bar or a social club. I don't know what that's going to look like in 2022. I will tell you that the university's policy is the only people that they're really caring about vaccination are those of us who volunteer for the WSU programs. When you're having your homes and garden shows, your vendors and things that come in do not sign an MOU. They're not a contracted worker for WSU. So basically they can be on their own and be unvaccinated. We do not check, except for now, vaccines of people coming into programs. It would be like if I stood outside the gates of the state of the fairs and checked for vaccine records to come in. Right now, you don't have to do that. I don't know what 2022 is going to look like.
Okay, so in writing the grant proposal to the county, I'll just assume that we'll be following masking guidelines as we know it today.
Right. And maybe this will all come under control. Maybe we'll be out of masks by then on a hopeful side, but I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I have to have the grant proposal written by next month sometime or November.
Okay.
So,
Perfect. Yeah. I would write it and get it in before the merry-go-round and the spinner changes and the policy changes.
okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
That's what I know. That's all I know. If anyone else, I'm reachable. Just, let me know and I'll try to be helpful. This is a yes or no. Yes, I'm vaccinated. I can go forward. No, I'm not vaccinated. I don't have a reason that I'm not vaccinated. And I say, see ya.
Tony, could you push
I'll
that
miss you.
number into the chat again, please? Because I haven't seen it up there.
What number? My phone number?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm having trouble typing. I typed trees instead of 3. So Megan corrected me there. So we're doing great.
Any other questions for Tony?
All right, I'm gonna go get on the university Zoom and be a problem and see if I can get some more answers.
Very good. Tony,
Thank
thank you
you,
so
guys.
much.
Thank you for all you're doing, and thanks for being supportive of the communities and answering their questions, because we are gardening. Thank you.
I want to take this time, some other opportunities, some other announcements and so forth. Alina, is this a good time for you to share what you want to share? Okay.
Sure,
Elaine?
I'll see if I can't get my
Okay.
let's
So
see, share screen.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the problem before, is I can't get anything from my desktop. So what I'll have to do is just talk it through. When you go to add an impact hour, there is a green little circular rectangle right there in the upper right-hand corner. It says add impact. That's what you click, nothing else. That takes you to a screen which says, where did you do your hours? And it's a drop-down menu, and you put down answer clinic or any of the other program categories. Then it opens up to your add impact screen. And it will say, you've already entered this category, and you just ignore it because we have 8 categories and we're always entering them repeatedly. So then you go down and it says, start. Okay, so here is the add impact. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And then, like I said, it says start time, end time, start date, end date. And it's really important that you add the beginning and the ending of your time. If it's 1 hour and 25 minutes, you can scroll down 9 o'clock to 10:22, and it will compute what that is, what that time is. And then you go down, again, you have to enter again that it was answer clinic or whatever. Go down, ignore the ethnic and the genders right now, because we have changed the way we have to enter that information. Okay, thank you, Kelly. So here it is, start date, end date, start time, end time. And some people are not putting in that information. Ignore, it'll say right there how many hours you put in. And if it says something really ridiculous, like 15 hours, then you know it's because one of those, you may have put AM and you may have left it PM. So again, you have to make sure on the start time that it's 10 o'clock AM to 11 o'clock AM, or 1 o'clock PM to 3 o'clock PM, okay? And then it shows here the hours, program support, and right here under statewide program profiles, the state is now asking us, these are our priorities for what we do. So if you're an answer clinic and you talk about pollinators and soil health and native plants, which would be nearby nature, you can check those so that state understands, okay, when we're tallying up what our effect is, we can see that these are the things that we talked about. If you were doing demo garden, you may have only checked local food because that's what you're doing. Okay? Then when you go down to gender, we have a new way we have to record this by the Department of Civil Rights or whatever. I don't have time to train everybody now, but I will train everybody in January so that you know we can no longer guess whether the person is Hispanic, white, African American. They have to declare it. So I'm not even going to worry about this right now. We'll do it in January. If you were to say female, they might be binary. I mean, it has become really specific. So that's why I'm not having you enter anything right there. Scroll all the way down. And then it has to be shared by Washington State University, and you have to make your impact private. So yes, it's already correct, already clicked, and then you press add impact. Now, one of the cool things is when you get all the way down and it shows up that you actually added impact, it says Washington State University. And he's not going to be able to show us because he's not actually adding an impact. But if you scroll down and click on Washington State University, it will take you right back to your add impact page. So you don't have to do all the different clicking and whatnot to get back to the add impact page. And what I can do is I can send that out, in an email or something so that people actually can see what it is. So it's a lot easier, but I still need people to include all the impact information that is on that sheet that I just talked about.
Questions or comments for Alina regarding add impact?
Yes.
I have a question.
Karen.
Okay, you were just talking about the demographics, that we've been guessing at on our plant clinic sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Are we supposed to start asking people now?
I will train you in January because there's a form that they have to fill out. And if they don't fill it out, then we say not known.
Okay, thank you.
But it just was too much to do right now when we're doing it virtually.
Right.
I have a question, Elena.
Yes.
Is it crucial that where we add our impact, we need to choose the button where your face is and not other add impact areas to get it in the right place? Or does that matter?
I'm not sure I understand.
I guess I'm in other groups. Maybe I shouldn't. I have 4 groups listed, but when I add my impact hours, I thought you said in the very beginning that we need to make sure we see your face up there and hit that add impact button and not the other groups.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So the first thing you do is log in to the Grays Harbor Pacific County group. You'll see my picture and you'll see a green add impact there. That's what you click. And because you've logged in, it will connect with your hours.
But again, just as we're seeing here, I mean, if you just log in, you know, it says welcome back, Kelly, and I say add impact. I can go, you can go to the group.
Kelly, go back. There's a problem here. Tiffany Braun is her picture. That's not our group.
But you can add, you know,
Impact there, you're going to be adding it to a whole different area of WSU.
but if you go to the groups, right? And then I can see, because you're automatically into this group here. You just pick the right group. And then there you are.
I have a website that I just click on and it takes me directly to my group. If you don't click on, and I've sent that out to people, if you don't click on Grays Harbor Pacific County web's email, then yes, you will have to go and find the group.
Yeah.
I also wanted to point out our new banner. I grabbed these pictures and my son-in-law, who's a graphic artist, he put it all together. So we now have a snazzy banner.
And so Ocean Shores is known by their carrots, apparently. Yes.
That's what Sabine sent me. I know, I just asked for pictures from the different gardens and that's what I received.
Very good. Okay, thanks much. Other announcements?
Questions about adding impact hours? Now is the time to get it done because we're running out of time. It's only September, but I'm sending out the recommitment forms at the end of October so we can do it in November. And we're going to need to have the hours pretty much in by that time.
So speaking of other hours and so forth, this is a quick shout out, of course, for the conference. You know, the state conference at the end of the month. Karen, Aaron, Sharon, I'm curious, do we have any consensus of how many Master Gardeners from our foundation have signed up for the state conference? Do we know those numbers?
I don't.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. But the site is at mglearns.org. It's the top of the page there, mglearns.org. And it's going to be a great opportunity to obviously get those continuing education hours in there. Another quick opportunity I wanted to make point on is that Saturday, October 9th, there's a full day of the Master Gardeners are putting on free classes over in Centralia. So it could be a pleasant drive, you know, for folks to get back up there and to check in. So this is something that the Lewis County Master Gardeners are putting on. And
isn't the Lewis County the ones that are putting on the Zooms, the free Zooms?
That's Cowlitz County, but they're doing a great job with those as well.
Okay, I'm sorry. Because I just got notice on my email.
Yeah. So again, so both of those opportunities are great opportunities for additional learning here. And a quick shout out, by the way, to a lot of work that folks have been doing on the new website. And I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that we've been working on a new website for our own foundation, pnwmg.org. And you can see new-proto.pnwmg.org and start getting your comments in on this. So this is the new look and feel and a new refresh for our website that is underway. And so, you know, with Aaron and Bev and Cindy, you know, lots of inputs going on for this particular website here.
I'll be there. Thank you.
Okay. And so a quick shout out for that. And then final comment I wanted to make here with respect to again, another note is that we're still in COVID time here. And it's it's the least we can do to make sure we're checking in on our colleagues and on our neighbors. So especially as the Delta variant, right, constrains us even further, right? A quick shout out here to anybody that can to make that extra effort of of calling and helping and reaching out. So I hope it can make things happen on that and that effort there. Okay. And then a quick notes again on just I want to make these comments each month we talk about this thing. Make sure about you're aware of your phishing concerns. If you don't recognize an email coming across, don't click on it. Don't open up anything here.
I've been outside.
Similarly with the any kind of scams coming on here. Let's make sure that we've got that we've got all that going on. Okay. And I know we're getting long on time here, but some of the programs we've been cooking up here for the following months are including a number of folks that we'd like to have speaking to us. Megan Martin is on today from the Sharon, could you just go ahead and mute your phone there? It'd be great if you could. Okay. And Megan is here from the Conservation District. Megan, I don't think we're going to have time today to go into your presentation, but I'd like to reserve you automatically for next month if that's convenient for you.
That's perfectly fine. I'll put you on my calendar and we'll.
Most excellent. Yeah. I'm also talking with Kim Picorni of OSU Extension. And Kim writes regularly for OSU Extension. In particular, she's published a very interesting article in the Digger magazine talking about climate change and plant selections regarding climate change. We're also talking with Nicole Appelian. Nicole Appelian lives in Menlo and is an author of 2 foraging books and plant herbal remedy books. And she actually visited with us at the Pacific County Fair and presented a couple of those books with us. And we're trying to get Nicole lined up for a speaking engagement with us. Also, in reaching out to David Giblin. David Giblin is with the University of Washington, the Burke Museum. And David is actually been one of the editors of the new volume of Flora of the Pacific Northwest, the new Hitchcock version. So talking about this is tremendous now that the DNA research has tremendously changed and revolutionized how we classify plants botanically. Dr. Giblin has been instrumental in how do you revise that foundational textbook. We look forward to having Dr. Giblin come and speak with us here. So even though we're still on Zoom, one of the unique advantages of this virtual environment is that we're able to gather folks together whom we probably would not be able to get to come to us in Cosmopolis or Aberdeen. So
I have a comment, Kelly.
Please.
Since you just kind of bypassed announcements, one of the things that was in the e-news, this is Karen. One of the things in the e-news says that the plant clinic at the Aberdeen market, the time is wrong. It's from 10 to 3. Just to let people know.
Okay. 10 to 3 for the time.
10 to 3, Sunday, this coming Sunday.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other announcements or comments for the good of the order here?
For the good of the order, I have one. This is Sue Sheila. We have an opportunity for anybody out there that needs some more hours in the garden. Valerie, the new master gardener out in North Beach, and I will be working on 2 covered beds on Thursday of this week, probably from 10 to 1. If anybody wants to come out, whether it's North Beach Master Gardeners, Hoquiam, wherever, want to come out and put a few hours in helping to build these covered beds, we'd be happy for the help in Ocean Shores.
Most excellent. So that's Thursday, the 16th. And what time then?
10 to 1,
10,
probably.
10 to 1. Very good. So you're going to try to get it done ahead of the rain, which is forecast for this weekend.
Right.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Any other announcements or comments for the good of the order?
Yes, Sharon Golightly. The state meeting, educational meeting, also has a silent auction. So those individuals signed up for the meeting should get in on the silent auction. There are a lot of opportunities to add some resources to your gardening skills there.
Very good. Very good. Okay. With that, I want to thank everyone for participating. I'm going to go ahead and